Hi there, YouTube. This is my second video this morning about the video about the civilian national security force that was posted on Drudge. It's actually an older video, and I just have something to share with you all. Due to my research, even if my analysis is taken out of context, it still is extremely disturbing, because through researching this, I found out that Stephen Flynn, fellow and scholar and thinker, writer for the Council on Foreign Relations, is actually an advisor to the Obama campaign. And you can just search NPR Stephen Flynn and Obama and find an NPR article that will confirm that he is an unpaid advisor on Homeland Security to Obama. And this makes a direct link between Stephen Flynn and the Obama campaign, and it is relevant because if you Google those words, let's see, what are they here? If you Google Stephen Flynn Civilian National Security Force, Civilian National Security Force, quote unquote, are the words that Obama used in that clip, and that phrase actually comes from Stephen Flynn, and that's when I perked up, because I had sat in on a lecture at Indiana University last April when Stephen Flynn spoke about his idea of modeling Homeland Security on the Federal Reserve banking system, which is a very disturbing idea because basically that would mean there's no congressional oversight, much like the Federal Reserve, which is completely secret. The Congress knows more about the CIA than they know about the Federal Reserve, which prints our money, which is basically a banking cartel. It's a private bank that prints our money. In my opinion, completely unconstitutional, but that's another issue. Here's a man who wants to privatize, make quasi-private Homeland Security, and this is a direct quote. The United States should roughly replicate the Federal Reserve model by creating a Federal Security Reserve system. Gosh, he actually used that word. With a National Board of Governors, 10 regional Homeland Security Districts, and 92 local branches called Metropolitan Anti-Terrorism Committees. The objective of this system would be to develop self-funding mechanisms to more fully engage a broad section of American society to protect the country's critical foundations from the widespread disruption that would arise from a terrorist attack. In summation, thanks to, and I want to say thank you to a guy that was challenging me in a friendly way, Antman12345, challenged me and basically said, hey, give us some quotes from Stephen Flynn to prove your allegations about him, and number two, give us some evidence that Obama knows Flynn. And I really want to thank him because I spent all night researching this, and so now we know, and you can look it up yourself, that Stephen Flynn is an unpaid advisor to the Obama campaign. Stephen Flynn's entire academic, philosophical baby, his whole focus is this idea of privatizing Homeland Security. And he wrote a book called America the Vulnerable. Google America the Vulnerable, and you can find endless quotes about his idea of a military quasi-civilian force that will protect in a quote-unquote national or environmental disaster or anything, you know, of an emergency, this sort of quasi-private entity. And as I quoted before, I'm gonna say it again one more time here. So here's this quote again. The United States should roughly replicate the Federal Reserve model by creating a Federal Security Reserve system with a National Board of Governors, 10 regional Homeland Security Districts, and 92 local branches called Metropolitan Anti-Terrorism Committees. The objective of this system would be to develop self-funding mechanisms to more fully engage a broad cross-section of American society to protect the country's critical foundations from a widespread disruption that would arise from a terrorist attack. Now, I challenged Stephen Flynn when he lectured at IU, and I brought up issues like about terrorism and about looking at foreign policy, and it's interesting because he fits all into the politically correct mode. He compartmentalizes his argument, and he just talks about efficiency. He doesn't even consider our foreign policy, propping up military dictatorships, encouraging the idea that occupation has some sort of level of influence on what motivates suicide terrorism, as written in the book by Pape. I think it's Robert Pape. I have to look that up. In his book about suicide terrorism, it might be called Dying to Win. But anyway, in summation, tonight we have learned that Stephen Flynn is an unpaid advisor to the Obama campaign. His specialty is Homeland Security. If you look up the phrase that he uses of a civilian military force, that actually comes from Stephen Flynn. Those are the words that Obama used in that video. Even if that connection is out of context, Stephen Flynn is an advisor to the Obama campaign. His goal is to privatize Homeland Security and model it on the Federal Reserve banking system. So there you go. Interesting stuff, and something we should all look into. And yeah, think twice before you vote.